For the past 2 years, The Witness has been tracking the controversial 27 million sponsorship that Msunduzi municipality awarded to Royal AM, the football club owned by Sean Mkhize. From the moment the sponsorship was tabled in council, the DA in Msunduzi opposed it, going as far as taking the matter to court. But while the court process was unfolding, Royal AM was already facing its own troubles with SARS and the PSL. One of the conditions of the sponsorship was that the club had to remain in the PSL. When Royal AM was eventually relegated, it only strengthened the DA's case. This year, Sunduzi municipality officially announced the withdrawal of the sponsorship. Soon after, the court handed down its judgment, declaring the sponsorship invalid and unlawful, as well as ordering Royal AM to pay back the 9 million rand it had already received. By now, Mamkize had already moved on to Eswatini to be part of Mbabane Highlanders. However, that deal also fell through. In this episode, we speak to DA caucus leader in Umsunduzi, Ross Strachan, who reflects on the judgment and what it means going forward. Hello, Witness TV. My name is Ketuktula Klulu, the Deputy News Editor for The Witness. Today, we have DA caucus leader in Umsunduzi Municipality, Ross Strachan. Welcome, Ross.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Ketu, you and your Witness team. Greetings to everyone. It's lovely to be here in your new offices. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
So, as someone who was born and bred in Pietermaritzburg, you probably know us from our old offices in Willowton. So, this is your first time coming at this?
You've had so many offices. I was born here in 1983 in the old Grays Hospital. I remember that The Witness is possibly the oldest paper, not just in the province, in the country. So your offices were in one of our main streets. I think it was Pietermaritzburg Street, or I don't know. Loop Street, wherever it was, and then you moved across to Willowton, and now you're here, which is fantastic, and I'm very proud to see you moving on with the times, with technology, and yeah, well done.
Awesome. We've like to hear that you've been part of our journey. I'm grabbing the judgment because I want to go straight into the Royal AM Pietermaritzburg High Court judgment before we talk about anything else. We know that there's been issues mainly coming from opposition parties and the DA in Sunduzi municipality, where there was even a court application to halt and declare the judgment unlawful. The judgment not the judgment, but the court application went to court. But in between, before the judgment even came out, we know that Msunduzi municipality withdrew the sponsorship. Can you take us maybe from the first time in 2023 when it came to council, what was the feeling of the DA when it was first mentioned that Msunduzi municipality is planning on sponsoring Royal AM?
Yeah, Ketu, let me start from the very beginning. We've been in a financial crisis for a very long time. Hence the fact we've been under administration twice in a matter of 15 years, and then from 2019 was extended almost 5 times with different administrators. So our finances have never been in a position where we can start handing out sponsorships, and we've got policies that guide that. Even with Maritzburg United themselves, the DA was opposing the sponsorship of Maritzburg United, especially in financial terms. We're quite happy for soccer clubs to utilize our Harry Gwala Stadium and not let it sit as a white elephant. But we are just not in the position to be handing out sponsorships to football clubs while we've got service delivery in absolute decay and getting worse by the day. So when it came to council, the Royal AM sponsorship, we made it very clear that we're quite happy for any football club to come into the city, but as long as we're not sponsoring them financially, they can use our stadium, we can give in kind in terms of maintenance, etc. And they must also give back to the community in terms of sports development and bring something to the table in terms of developing our youth, where we've got a pool of talent here in Msunduzi. And it was just before an election, and there were red flags against our cost containment policy. It was a controversial billionaire club And yeah, lots of controversy around it. And we thought, hang on, no, this is not right, and we challenged it wholeheartedly. And obviously, the full council, the majority of full council approved the sponsorship, and we went to court.
So since then, I know that the club was relegated, but do you think that the municipality saw the investment? Was it coming back? Because I know the argument from the municipality was that we're gonna get advertising through them. We're gonna get people coming into the city through the municipality having this soccer club. Do you think that there was any with the 9 million that actually went out? Do you think that the amount of money that came into the city due to those matches um, actually amount to anything?
Yeah, 9 million that we know of. There could have been a lot more, excluding that. Um, denial's a terrible thing, and yet to see the benefits that Royal AM brought to the city, including Maritzburg United. Yes, Maritzburg United is a local club, but we're handing out tickets for free to the majority of the crowds that were there. We've always advocated for tourism in the city, but let's start with the basics first. Everything else will fall into place. So we still to see the proof and the evidence that there was a benefit to the city, financially, and to the economy in general. So yeah, I think you can throw all sorts of sticks and stones, but empirical evidence needs to come that there was a benefit, which is still not yet to be presented. So we took it to court, and it proved its fact
Yeah.
that there was no benefit and it was unlawful.
Yeah. So going back to the judgment saying that it was unlawful and invalid, the judgment also orders Royal AM to pay the money immediately. Um, do you see that happening?
Wow. Yeah, so that's really not my problem where they get the money from. We know that SARS has taken over the club. The club was relegated, hence the fact that Umsunduzi had to look at the contract, because the contract stipulates that only if you're in the PSL can we sponsor you. So that was a forced technicality through them being relegated. But wherever that money is, I know the process is that when you go into liquidation, which is clearly happening, that you'll have liquidators that will manage the cash that is there. And the court has ruled. So wherever the money is, we want it back for service delivery. We do.
Okay. I want to go back to sports development because I don't think the DA wants to come across as a political party that does not support any sports culture or anything of that sort. So moving away from Royal AM, what do you think the correct approach is to show for the city to show support to cricket clubs, soccer clubs, any clubs that are from the city?
Yeah, I think the first step, and it's a very simple step, is let's start maintaining and taking pride in the sports facilities we do have. There are no sports facilities that are in good condition and maintained regularly in the city, which clearly shows that there is no interest from the leadership in the city to make sure that at least the most simplest of ground, even in the townships and the rural areas, all the way up to Vulindlela, is maintained by the city. You look at places like Dales Park and old sports grounds that were once utilized on a regular occasion. They are now dens of iniquity and absolute decaying spots where yeah, it's very sad. And I think the future of this city, not just in sports development, but in general, in terms of basic services, is public-private partnerships. We've got to start bringing the businesses closer. We've got big industry in the city. There's no reason why this city, we are halfway between the coast and the Berg. We are on the N3 corridor. This should be the beacon of success in this province. But we're not unlocking it, and we're not bringing the private sector closer. That is the secret for sports development as well. When last did we see an international cricket match being played at our beautiful oval, steeped in history? I mean, come on, we are for sports. We are for any development. I'm a sportsman myself. I used to play football. I went to Maritzburg College, played soccer, played cricket, played rugby. And I know that this sport in this city is at its lowest and it needs to come back up. And we cannot do it by ourselves. Central government doesn't have money. Provincial government doesn't have money. Local government doesn't have money. So we've got to start improvising and bringing the private sector closer. Stop keeping our cards so close to our chest. That will unlock the city's true potential.
I want to touch on or get a follow-up. The DA in Umsunduzi told us about a Rescue Umsunduzi plan that they had. And then it was a plan that it was clear that they would need support. So when I say support, I would say from other smaller parties or other parties in council. How far is the DA with that plan, in testing that plan, in implementing that plan, and what does the DA need from the community?
Keto, we've got to be in government to execute that plan. We've got to be voted in as a majority party in the city to execute that plan. We've got a proven track record. That plan wasn't a pie in the sky sort of dream. It was recorded from municipalities like Mgeni municipality and various municipalities we run around the country, where we've streamlined that plan on where we've been successful in government. And we haven't failed those cities and towns where we do govern. And we've taken that and we've obviously adjusted it and tailor-made it to Umsunduzi and its concerns. But unfortunately, when you take it to council, there's a majority vote. And obviously the majority of council, including the IFP, including every other party, the EFF, the PA, all vote with the ANC, which is a massive problem. So the DA is the only one, including the ACDP as well, who's an independent, that's actually supporting that plan. But we need residents. The only way to change a government is through an election. And unfortunately, that is the bottom line. So we've got to start thinking about, if we want jobs, if we want the economy to grow, if we want investment, then we've got to get really on top of our game and make sure we vote with our heads and get the right people into government that can do the job.
Okay. I want to find out, do you not think there is some light at the end of the tunnel with the new appointment of the governance expert, Dr. Mike Sutcliffe?
I look at it as moving around the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's not an intervention, by the way. It's basically a support system where someone has no teeth. I've got nothing against Mark, but I think he's the right man for the job that he's been given. I think he's got a lot of experience, but he's got no teeth. Council still makes decisions. You've seen administrators come and go in this city, and we're still making decisions like Royal AM, etc., Last Dance Party.
So the experts give recommendations.
They give recommendations, and they give it to the leadership, and the leadership then have to make a decision. If they don't like it, they do their own thing. So we've had all the great support and recommendations from previous administrators and experts, but it clearly hasn't helped. Take the money and the financial responsibilities away from the decision-making body, which is council, and the troika of council, which is the mayor, the speaker, the deputy mayor, who make those decisions at a high level and bring them to council. If you take those decision makers away and you give it to someone like National Treasury under Section 139(7), then they have to monitor every decision that's made. That's going to be the way to recovery for this city. So every single cent and the purse is watched 24/7.
So where's the red tape with getting there? Or who holds the decision making? Would it be COGTA to getting to that Section 134?
I think it's various spheres of government. It has to go through a very, very rigorous process. Every box needs to be ticked before they can resort to that. But I do believe that it is in the process, and Umsunduzi is being watched. So this, hopefully, I just don't believe the urgency is enough from the MEC of COGTA. If you live in the city, you will see that nothing has improved. It's only getting worse. Exorbitant bills, water issues that have been going on for 15 years where people are drinking out of rivers. It's a human rights crisis. It needs the urgent attention it deserves. And just to send another babysitter here, excuse the pun, no offense intended, is not enough. We need drastic measures.
I hear you. Any final words? I do want you to touch a little bit on the 2026 elections. We're hoping they happen in 2026,
Yeah.
local government elections. So anything that you would want to say maybe on the DA's road to those elections, and final words from you?
I think Ketu, it's a very good point, and I think especially to the youth, is that we've got to start taking interest in our cities, and we sort of got to start playing a big role in politics. A lot of people, they might not like politics, but politics likes them. The street light outside your house, the pothole in front of your driveway, that's all politics at the end of the day. And we've got to start playing a more important role in trying to shape our future. Businesses are getting tired. Old industry that's been here for years and years and years, through generations, are now saying, where do we go from here? We've got so much potential still to be unlocked. And let's just make sure we get a government in that can produce the results. And the DA will be on the ground. We will be campaigning 24/7. We already have started campaigning. And we want to make sure that the people make the right decisions, because the wolves are waiting at the back door. And if we get any worse than we are now, then Umsunduzi is in deep, 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 deep trouble. So we've got to start getting out there and doing the hard work. We'll keep fighting in council, keep being the voice of reason, and we will take to the streets every day to make sure that we get that successful result that we need to make sure the city thrives and the people of Umsunduzi have some peace and quiet and not depression when waking up in the mornings, and go to work positive because they can see cranes in the sky and development happening. That's what we want. And we will keep driving for that.
Ross, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for having
joining
me.
us.
Thank you. Thank you.